Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Everyone checking in on the cryptocurrency space, doing a little bit of standing technical analysis where I can really get into it. So looking at Bitcoin, we are pulling back and looking for a daily higher low to form. 4-hour time frame, we saw a bear break of support and it went straight into a bull move. So that's what bulls want to see, a bear break with no follow through. But at this point, the bull break, it wasn't even a break, but we didn't have any follow through. So for the bulls to prove themselves, we need a 4-hour higher low, which is trying to form right now. And then we have to turn around and break 10,542. Because if we are able to break that level, that would be a 4-hour trend change. And the 4-hour trend change is the indication that our daily higher low has been established. So at this point, there's no major red flags on this consolidation. If we were to lose 10,000, it would start to be more significant than the bulls would be hoping for. And just again, looking at ranges, 9,300 up to 10,900. And looking at the midway point would be about 10,100, which is about where we've pulled back to at this point. So about the 50% retracement level. And again, I don't use fibs in the natural way that a lot of people do, or I should say the standard way, but I do take into account moves and retracements and things like that. So while I wouldn't say that it's exactly Fibonacci, I would say that I have a somewhat similar style and do use that information in my analysis to judge whether a pullback is healthy or not. So with this sideways trading on Bitcoin, we haven't seen a lot of clear bullish or bearish action the last few days, and that's allowing altcoins to break the correlation a little bit. And it's when sideways trading of Bitcoin occurs that the altcoins can get some momentum going in their favor. Certainly, again, I will be the last person that's going to be jumping on the alt season bandwagon, but you better believe that some things have been catching my attention, and I'm paying attention to stuff to see if the shift can take place. And I talked in the last video about being in a Litecoin position. And at this point, Litecoin is in a scenario where the bulls have to be very cautious, and Ethereum is as well. And the reason is we changed the daily trend. We got a higher low and a higher high, but at this point, we don't have a lot of follow through. And a trend change without a lot of follow through means zoom out and look for the potential of a flag. So it is a potential bear flag on these bounces at this point, and we would have to see more follow through. Anything above 63.87 is a daily higher low on Litecoin, but bulls essentially need to get back up into the mid $70 range for this bounce and trend change on the daily to see any kind of follow through. We're pretty range bound on Litecoin. Looking at it on the hourly chart, we essentially have a double bottom down at 68, and we have a whole bunch of tops up in the $71 range. 71.25, 21, 15, even, 47, and bulls unable to hold any of those moves. So we are looking at a scenario where until we get some clarity breaking from this range, we're not going to get much confidence. Bulls have to break 72.25, and if we don't, and if we drop down and break 67.80, that increases the odds that this could be a bear flag, and that would certainly be a red flag for bulls. So I have a stop at this point where I will exit if that level breaks, and it will be a fairly small loss. My entry was, let's see, that's a good question. Where was my entry? My entry was in the mid 60s. Let's see, it was in the mid 68s. So it wouldn't be a significant loss. It would be about 1% or so, which is certainly absorbable. So Litecoin BTC, the bounce at this point is notable, but we have to change the daily trend. The only thing that's notable about this bounce for me is number one, 3 green days in a row. When's the last time we've seen that happen? It's been a long time. And number two, the amount of space that's created here. So we could pull back 10% and still form a daily higher low. So we need to, whenever we top out, we need the higher low and higher high to change the daily trend and get over these exponential resistances if we're going to see any ground continued to be gained against Bitcoin dominance. Ethereum is the same scenario of everything that I just said pretty much. We have the daily trend change with a lack of follow through right now. The 4-hour time frame is trying to form a higher low. We had about a double bottom at 176 and did get a bull break, a more clear bull break on Ethereum than Litecoin, but no follow through. And we are trying for another 4-hour higher low right now. So 176 is the most important short-term support. If we break 176, the odds that this is a daily bear flag, or I should say a weekly bear flag, would increase a bit. So the shorter-term time frames are going to have a direct impact as far as probabilities go as to whether or not these daily moves can get follow through on their trend change, or whether we have to be cautious of bear flags. ETH BTC still in a daily downtrend, but again, enough space has been created that we can look for a higher low to form when we do top out and watch to see can the Bitcoin pairing charts change the daily trend. A lot of eyes in the altcoin world are on EOS. EOS has exploded the last 3 days and gone almost 20% from the low just 2 days ago, over that. So that's catching a lot of attention, and pretty much every altcoin bull is looking at it and saying, I hope my coin does that, because this is a daily trend change with very convincing follow through. There's no bear flag here at this point. A clear higher low and higher high, taking out a lot of resistance levels, and most notably, it's the highest price that we've seen here in just about a month. So we look at the weekly time frame, I would say anything under 458 is just a weekly lower high, so we're not changing that weekly trend. And again, remember all these names, we're looking for monthly higher lows to form and monthly equilibriums as the most likely scenario heading into the end of the year. And I'm looking at this to be the case for Litecoin and Ethereum and EOS. And EOS is giving us the most convincing action right now that our monthly higher low may be set. A daily trend change is the first indication that a monthly higher low may be set. It's a higher risk, higher reward signal. A lower risk, lower reward signal would be waiting for the weekly time frame to change the trend. But this is a daily trend change that is increasing the odds that our monthly higher low has been set. And everybody's hoping that their altcoin can do the same thing. XRP is still in a daily equilibrium. We have our low, high of the bull move, pretty much a double bottom and a double top, 245 support and 254. Make that 245 and 2475 supports. Resistances 267 is a double top. If you can't get over 267, bulls aren't going anywhere. Tightening range, anticipating a break probably in the next 3 to 4 days. So maybe even heading into the weekend. Binance. So Binance is still trading sideways. The most important thing for me is the daily exponential resistance. We've got support at 2130 and resistance at 2352. And until we break that short-term range, we are just patiently waiting because, again, it's a daily trend change with no follow-through. You could call this a little higher low and higher high, but certainly not convincing at this point. So I would certainly say that Ethereum, Litecoin, all these names are on the chopping block. Time to show up or shut up, bulls, and shut up with the alt season if we break down to lower lows. It's worth watching for, but we need to keep our expectations tempered. We have to be watching things with a clear, unbiased perspective, and we have to not be just blindly scaling into positions because they're cheap and because they've been going down. If they're showing us clear shifts in momentum, then it's worthwhile to potentially look to establish a position, and that's what it was for me in Litecoin. Litecoin showed me something on LTC USD, and then the Bitcoin pairing saw some bullish action. That's enough for me to take a small trade that has a clear stop loss level for me to give the potential opportunity if we do see this momentum shift and if the sector does follow EOS's lead, but not holding my breath. So that's where we stand. 4-hour time frame, short term. Bitcoin bulls need to change this 4-hour trend. I wouldn't be surprised to trade within this 4-hour range for a bit longer. And how this 4-hour pattern breaks will obviously have a direct impact on how these other names shape up on their 4-hour time frames. So I appreciate you watching. We will check back in soon. Ducks came back today for the first time in over a week. I thought they already headed south, so that was a nice surprise to see them this morning. It's probably been a week and a half, maybe 10 plus days since I've seen them. They were a bit more timid and took a little while to get used to me and remember. But that was a nice morning surprise. Also got a flamethrower torch for the weeds in the driveway, so that's going to be a new toy to play with. I'll get some flame-throwing footage eventually. Until then, we'll go back to Iceland, and I appreciate you watching. Do good things out there and protect those positions. Let's see if these altcoins can shift some momentum. 4-hour higher low trying to form on Litecoin. ETH, 4-hour higher low trying to form, and Bitcoin as well. Need more follow through.
market.